What started out as just another quiet night earlier this month quickly devolved into a scene of horror.
There's just a lot of pandemonium at the time. Neighbors everywhere screaming and yelling. I mean, I've never seen anything like that in my life.
At around 10:30 on May 1st, residents of the Royal Oaks Housing Co-op emerged in a dazed state to see one of the townhouses burning up, emitting huge columns of smoke. Neighbors in the area were taken aback by the reality of what was occurring.
I quickly went downstairs. I know I called 911. I still remember that I was so nervous and I was shaking that I couldn't talk. I couldn't remember my address, so my sister had to remind me what our address was.
First few minutes I didn't really take anything of it. I just thought there was a couple of neighbors having an argument. But then I noticed that there was a light shimmering through the window. And then I went up and I heard the yelling getting louder and louder, and went over to open the windows, and I noticed, startled me, was a huge fire blazing.
By that time, a lot of people were outside. A lot of people were calling 911. We also saw an explosion. I think it was because of one of the propane tanks, but the fire department response was very quick.
While the two residents, a mother and son, were not injured, many of their belongings were unsalvageable. Because they had tenants insurance, their stay at a motel will be covered until they can find a more permanent living arrangement. Donations have begun trickling in for the family, everything from furniture to clothing to soaps and sponges.
I thought that was the most natural thing to do. I mean, it was a very altruistic aspect, and I felt it was a great thing to show that the community was coming forward together to show their assistance to the individual, because the woman had actually lost her husband several days before the fire actually happened, so her situation was double times worse than what was to be expected.
We as a community, we are doing as much as we can to help them out.
According to a co-op official, the amount of inaccurate information from observers provided to the Cornwall Fire Department held up their investigation, which ultimately found the cause of the fire to be undetermined.
There were different stories floating around about what happened. Not a lot of people were there at the beginning of the fire, so that's why they jumped to assumptions.
I myself stayed out of the situation, although I did hear some disconcerting rumors about how it actually happened. But one thing I hope that it actually did was that it made people more aware of their neighbors and aware as a community to come together and help out. I mean, I think it showed the worst and the best, and I think the best triumphed over the worst.
While the fire itself certainly rattled members of this community, it was the quick thinking of those who reported the incident, helped fight the blaze, as well as those who aided in donations that stopped the situation from getting any worse. For The Source, I'm Khadija Vakili in Cornwall.